All right, that's a good way to start off the show. I got Fox News here on in the studio, and I'm watching this guy standing in water in Florida. Not that there's anything funny about the flooding in Florida, but what is it with these nut job weather reporters that feel compelled to stand in water up to their chest to go see how high the water is? Hey, guess what? We don't know how tall you are, okay? So unless you have the height stick behind you like you're coming out of a 7-Eleven, we're not exactly sure just how high the water's rising. But you notice this guy with the pink shirt on? The water line on his shirt is higher than the water line now. That must mean the waters are receding. Good to have you on board here this Wednesday on the program. God almighty. Is it too late to build a guillotine so I can just chop my head off and just not have to deal with all this? Just think of the fun and the separation time between the slicing and when your head hits the basket and you go, I'm leaving it all behind. Anyway, we're glad you didn't leave us behind. Thanks for joining us on the program where intellectual anarchy is encouraged and nurtured. For now, Marcelo working the dial. Brad produces the program. Emails at the website, jerrydoyle.com. Poll question up there for you today. A federal task force says insurance companies should... The guy in the pink shirt. I just can't. Anyway, okay, stop. And reset back to 132 Apple, sound speed, sticks, and take two. Action. A federal task force says insurance companies should pay for obese people's weight loss treatments, or as they put it, provide, quote, intensive, multi-component behavioral interventions. What do you say to that? 5% agree because it's not their fault. 34% said buy them a mirror and let them figure it out. And 61% say you disagree. Where's the personal responsibility? We'll take your answer there at the website or here at 800-876-4123 on the program where we like our flying a little turbulent, our women a little crazy, and our politics a little messy. Speaking of flying, Major J.R. Williams from the United States Air Force Thunderbirds demo team, lead solo pilot, is going to join us in the program later in studio. He's coming to the CASA. This guy's got 2,000 flight hours, 230 combat hours, and just a very cool guy that I had an opportunity to meet when I was out at Nellis Air Force Base, I don't know, a month or so back. And he's got a very interesting story about overcoming certain things to get to the point that you want to be at. And you would have to think that if you're a Thunderbird pilot, that flying would just kind of come naturally to you. What came naturally to Major Williams was vomiting. He had a problem with throwing up when he flew, and he almost didn't make it through. He almost washed out of the whole flight program because he had a little problem, made him a little sick to his stomach. And when he tells you about the things that he went to try and overcome that, this is, again, somebody that understands attitude controls altitude, and he's going to join us a little bit later in the program. Also later today, Kurt Loder is going to give his film review of the movie Magic Mike, which I guess opens, when does it open? Tomorrow? Friday?
Yeah, I believe so. I have no intention on seeing it, so I haven't really been.
You don't want to go?
No.
Really?
No.
I'm thinking, why not? It's kind of like if you're, in a town and you see that they're having a nurses convention, you want to go. Yeah. I'm thinking.
It is a chick flick.
Is it? Well, I have to ask him that because the question I have for Kurt Loder is the movie trailer says it'll make you want to be single again. So I'm going to ask him, did it? Did it make you want to be single? I don't know. It just looks like a weird movie, but wow, after watching that film. What's the 800 number for Bowflex? I mean, really.
It opens Friday.
It opens Friday. Magic Mike, Kurt Loder, is going to review that film for us on the program today. Now, let's take a look at this situation that we hear about in the United States where our manufacturing sector is suffering. That we're in some type of a manufacturing recession or a manufacturing funk. When you look at the manufactured wars, the manufactured obesity, the manufactured racism, the manufactured controversies, I would have to say that the manufacturing section in the United States of America is alive and well, courtesy of Cabloid, which is a combination of cable television and tabloid news, because, man, they can manufacture it. When you start with this obesity epidemic. Does anybody else out there think like I do along this one, that this is both a problem and a manufactured crisis? Because if you manufacture a crisis, well, then there has to be a solution to the crisis, and the solution to the crisis comes either in pill form or mandates to insurance companies that they have to pay for fat people to not staple their own lips shut, or to step away from the Twinkies, or to do something with regard to personal responsibility. And now we have a federal task force that comes along under Obamacare, which we're going to get the news on tomorrow, which we will discuss when we have the news, as opposed to doing another 24 hours of supreme speculation. But under the health care law, insurance companies would be required to cover the panel's recommended weight loss treatments. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, listen to this, urged doctors to identify patients with a body mass index of 30 or more, that's currently 1 in 3 Americans, and either provide counseling themselves or refer the patient to a program designed to promote weight loss and improve health prospects. Under the current health care law, Obamacare, Medicare and most private insurances would be required to cover the entire cost of weight loss services. Now, they say right now, few health insurances reimburse physicians for weight loss counseling or pay for programs that patients seek out on their own. What does that include? Deal-A-Meal from Richard Simmons? What is it? Is that what he has, Deal-A-Meal?
I don't think he has Deal-A-Meal anymore.
No, Deal-A-Meal's out? Well, what's the other one? Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers or whatever it is, the Terry Bradshaw or Dan Marino or Nutrisystem for Men. Right. So now we're going to have health insurance, and you know that they're thinking that. Because if we can, and not that these programs are bad, even Charles Barkley says, I lost 32 pounds and I'm going to keep the weight off. But, I mean, you look at this, and it's going to be a push for a way for a lot of people to make a lot of money and probably not end up with very much good outcome with regard to people dropping weight and getting more fit. But this will be the lobbyists going, don't you think under Obamacare that Nutrisystem or whatever it is, Jenny Craig or whatever it is, Deal-A-Meal should be covered? I don't know, should it? Yeah, that's a great idea. And this, again, all gets to the fact that overnight, seemingly, the United States woke up to the obesity epidemic. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw somebody go from 180 to 320. Nobody saw BMIs creeping up, just like they didn't see the crisis on Wall Street when it manufactured itself to $600 trillion in synthetic derivatives. All of a sudden, boom, oh, we have a crisis. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw the weight issue as a problem in the making, but now that it's been made and manufactured and hyped, and the death of every American is right around the corner, now we have to go for the immediacy of the solution. Now, a growing number, they say, charge obese patients for more coverage. Well, that's because obese people have more illnesses, and that's going to cost more money to treat, but that's not fair because it's not their fault. Now, they say the task force looked at all the medical literature that was available with regard to the most successful programs in improving patients' health. And what they came up with was an intensive, multi-component behavioral intervention. Sounds like the liberal gobbledygook coming out of Mayim Bialik yesterday with the co-sleeping, attachment parenting nonsense, where the data would indicate blah, blah, blah. And here's what they think insurance companies should have to pay, which means you and I are going to have to pay when we pay our premiums to get insurance. And this is what we're going to have to pay for fat people to get. We're going to have successful programs that help them set weight loss goals. How about this? You get a pen and a piece of paper. You put your current weight, you put your target weight, you subtract, you come up with a number, you set a time frame, and you set a goal for yourself. How about that? But nope. We have to have some big government weight loss program, goal program, so that you'll be able to stay on track. We also have to educate people about nutrition, like a computer. Garbage in, garbage out. Unfortunately, for people, garbage in stays in. And if people want to continue to eat garbage, they're going to be a garbage can. Oh, excuse me, a recycling bin. Because we don't call trash cans anymore. Even on your computer, there's no trash can. There used to be a trash can. Now what is it? It's a recycling bin because that's more environmentally friendly, and that's how we want to be as a society. We have to teach patients how to track their ways to maintain their lifestyle eating habits, and we have to help them set limits. We also have to help them identify barriers to change, which is meaning the scarcity of healthful food choices in their neighborhood. We have to help them strategize on ways to maintain these lifestyle changes, and we have to include exercise sessions as well. And we also have to make sure, as a part of this intensive multi-component behavioral intervention, that we give people 12 to 26 counseling sessions every year. Once a month or once every 2 weeks, you have to sit down with your counselor and say, I'm fat enough, I'm smart enough, and one day, by God, I'll be thin enough. The Tavis Smiley of Fat People program, where counselors are going to tell you what it is you probably already know yourself, but if government can figure out a way to manufacture a crisis, then they're going to be able to figure out a way to manufacture a solution, which is not going to solve the problem, but it's going to solve the problem of who's going to be able to make more money when we have this manufactured crisis. Now, here's an interesting note from Dr. Jack Der Sarkisian at Kaiser Permanente's LA Medical Center. He said the guidelines are long overdue. And he said what we have to do is we have to cattle prod physicians. I threw the cattle in. He just said prod physicians. He said we have to prod physicians to help their patients control their weight. He said because we have to look at the risks of diabetes and heart disease and other health threats. True that. But he said there's a study out there that says that more than half of all obese patients have never been told by their physician that they need to lose weight. So instead of all of this manufactured obesity crisis, it also doesn't deal with people on the cusp of obesity. The other 1 in 3, which is now 2/3 of the problem. Only when you become obese do you become eligible for these obesity prevention techniques, but not before. When you have a BMI of 27.999, not in the program. BMI 28 or higher, you're in the program. You know what we do? We just send everybody a mirror and a pen and a piece of paper. And you look in the mirror and you write down whether you're happy with yourself or not happy with yourself. And then you decide what it is you want to do to make the change for yourself.
The Jerry Doyle Show.
Oh, by the way, this panel, the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, there was only one problem with the recommendation that they came up with. No study has shown that these intensive programs provide any long-term health benefits. A manufactured problem, the manufacturing of cash flow for companies that have connections to the obese egos of politicos. Stick with me.
This is the Jerry Doyle Show.